The new planet Mistake, the starship Vornax 7 floated through deep space, shining like a silver needle against the darkness. Inside, Captain Drek of the Zarnak Empire looked at the screen. A small blue and green planet had just appeared. "Look, at this," Drek said, pointing at the screen. "Another baby world, no cities, no defense grid, fresh for the taking." His crew laughed. One of them, a short alien with red skin, typed something on the console. "It's labeled X-199. No records. Looks like they just discovered fire," he joked. The captain grinned. "Send the standard warning message. Let them know they now belong to the Zarnak Empire." The warning was sent, a simple demand in galactic common. It said, "Surrender peacefully, or be destroyed." But after a few seconds, the ship received something strange. A reply. Not in galactic common, not in any known alien language. It was in old Earth code. A pattern. A message. But not just any message. A warning. The words appeared on the screen. "This is Earth. You have made a mistake." The crew went silent. Then they laughed again, thinking it was some sort of prank. "Earth?" one officer said. "Never heard of it. Probably some lost mining world." But Captain Drek didn't laugh. His yellow eyes narrowed. He had studied history, and the name Earth felt familiar. Something old. Something hidden. "Scan the planet," he ordered. The scanners started, but something was off. The signal was weak, almost like someone was jamming their tech. Before Drek could ask more, another alert beeped loudly. "Unmarked vessel approaching," the computer announced. The crew turned toward the screen. A ship, large, dark, and silent, was rising from the far side of the planet's moon. It didn't carry any known flag. No ID tag, no communication, just moving. "What is that?" the red-skinned officer whispered. Captain Drek stood up. "I don't know, but it's heading straight for us." The alien fleet was still calm. They outnumbered the mystery ship 10-1, so they sent a small cruiser to greet it. The cruiser hailed the unknown ship. Still, no reply. The cruiser fired a warning shot, a soft pulse, not meant to hurt, just to show power. The unknown ship didn't slow down. Then it fired. A single blue beam shot out. Silent, clean, instant. The cruiser exploded without sound, breaking into glowing pieces. Half the crew on the Vornax 7 jumped, back in shock. What kind of weapon was that?" someone cried. Captain Drek's hands shook. That wasn't a warning. That was a message. They had assumed the planet was new. Weak. Powerless. But now the truth was burning right in front of them. Earth was not new. Earth was not weak. Earth had just sent a warship. Panic began to spread across the alien fleet. The strange Earth ship didn't stop after destroying the cruiser. It kept moving slowly like a predator walking into a room full of sheep. Drek turned to his science officer. "What is that ship made of?" "Why didn't our scanners detect it earlier?" The officer was pale now, his voice cracked. We don't know. Our scans can't read it. It's like the ship is invisible to our tech." Another officer yelled, "Should we retreat?" Captain Drek didn't answer. He couldn't. His eyes were locked on the screen, on the ship, on the silence. Because, deep down, he understood something his crew didn't. This wasn't an attack. This was a warning. The Zarnak Empire had picked the wrong target, a planet they thought was sleeping. But Earth had never been asleep. They had just been watching, waiting. And now, they had returned. With fire. The ship with no name, the alien fleet floated in space, still in shock. Pieces of their cruiser drifted slowly, glowing red from the silent blast. The unknown ship, Earth's warship, moved forward like it had no fear. No flag. No name. Just steel, shadows, and power. On the bridge of the Vornax 7, no one spoke. Even the hum of machines felt quieter, like space itself had gone still. "Captain," Drek stared at the warship. "That ship, it doesn't have an ID, no signal. It's like it doesn't exist." One officer, shaking, whispered, "What do we do now?" They tried to scan it again. No success. The warship's surface reflected nothing. Not heat, not energy, not movement. The scanners saw only black, the same black as deep space. The warship kept coming. Another alien ship, braver or more foolish than the rest, moved to block its path. It turned on its shield and prepared weapons. The Earthship didn't turn. It didn't stop. It simply fired again. This time, no beam was seen. Just a flash. Then silence. The alien ship split in half. No sound, no warning, only destruction. Gasps filled the command center. Some aliens backed away from the screen. "This isn't possible," said the science officer. "It moved faster than our systems could track. We don't even know what kind of weapon it used." "It didn't miss," someone else whispered. Captain. Drek clenched his fists. It wasn't trying to miss. Panic spread. Orders were shouted. Ships tried to reform defense lines, but it was too late. The fleet had never faced anything like this. They were trained for pirates, rebellions, slow wars between proud nations. But this was something else. This was a ghost ship from a planet no one remembered. A force they thought had vanished long ago, and it wasn't stopping. Another officer tried to open communication again. "Unknown vessel, this is the Zarnak Empire fleet. Identify yourself, we request peace, please respond." Silence. Then a new signal flashed across all screens. It was not a message. It was a picture. The Earth, blue, glowing, beautiful. And beneath it, one line. "This is Earth's silence." "You," spoke first. Captain Drek felt cold. They're not talking, they're answering. The warship moved again, slow and confident. No ships blocked it now. All moved aside. The crew watched as the Earthship passed through their lines like a shadow among stars. "Where is it going?" someone asked. "Straight to the core ship," another replied. The core ship was the command center of the fleet. It carried top officers, data records, war plans. If it fell, the entire fleet would collapse. The alien general, watching from the core ship, screamed orders. All ships were to attack. Fire everything. Now. Hundreds of beams shot toward the Earth warship. Bright, loud, desperate. They hit. Nothing. The warship's hull lit up with blue light, absorbing the energy, not reflecting, not blocking, absorbing, and then, once again, it fired, but not a beam. This time it unleashed a wave, an invisible force that passed through the alien ships like wind through leaves. No explosions. No fire. But engines stopped. Lights died. Entire ships powered down. Dead. Still floating. The warship stopped moving. It didn't destroy everything. It didn't need to. One show of power was enough. The alien fleet had lost. But Earth hadn't come to conquer. They had come to remind. On the Vornax 7, Captain Drek sank into his chair. "They knew we'd come," he said softly. "They waited, planned, built that ship. And now, they've shown us." No one answered. What could they say? The stars outside didn't look the same anymore. Because now every alien in that fleet knew one thing. The humans were back, and they were not afraid. Earth's silent doctrine. All across the alien fleet, lights flickered and screens glitched. The attack had not destroyed their ships, but something worse had happened. The ships were alive but powerless. Their engines didn't respond. Their weapons stayed cold. Communications failed. The warship from Earth hadn't just fought, it had controlled. On the Vornax 7, Captain Drek stared at the dark screen. He could still see the Earthship floating in front of them. No movement. No noise. It didn't have to do anything more. It had already won. "Nothing is working," the engineer whispered. "Our systems are frozen. It's like something is inside them." The captain nodded. Not something. Someone. The warship hadn't just fired weapons. It had entered their systems, silently. It knew where to strike, what to shut down, and how to make them helpless. It didn't need to talk. Every action was already a message. Why didn't it destroy us, a young officer asked. No one had the answer. Drek stood and looked around. His crew was scared. Not of death, but of the unknown. This wasn't a normal enemy. This wasn't a space pirate, a rebel faction, or a wild AI. This was something smarter, colder, human. He turned to the screen again and stared at the warship. It wants us to know, he said quietly, to remember. Earth isn't a new world. It's an old one, and we forgot it. The ship didn't move, not even a blink from its engines. It just floated, watching them, as if it was thinking. Suddenly, part of the warship's outer wall shifted. A single hatch opened. A small drone exited and moved toward the Vornak 7. It didn't carry weapons. It just carried a box. When it reached the airlock, the ship's system allowed it in, without permission. It had hacked its way inside like it had done with their systems. Inside the command room, the crew stood around the box. It clicked open. Inside was an old data drive, marked with strange symbols no one on the ship understood except Drek. He stepped forward and picked it up. Is that Earth language? One of the crew asked. Drek nodded. Very old. I studied it in secret years ago. This symbol means return. This one means punishment. And this, he paused, voice heavy, means memory. He inserted the drive into the system. A video played. It showed Earth, but not the peaceful Earth they had scanned. This was a planet on fire. Massive wars, explosions, machines, and soldiers, millions of them, marching across ruined lands. Cities burned, skies filled with ships. Humans fighting humans. Then it showed Earth building, rising, creating warships like the one floating outside. Faster, smarter, deadlier. A deep voice spoke in the old Earth language. Drek translated aloud. We learned from fighting ourselves. That was our training. You thought peace made us soft, but we made peace with fire. If you attack again, we won't answer with silence. We'll answer with everything. The screen went black. No one moved. No one breathed. It was clear now. Earth had once been at war with itself. That war had taught them pain, strength, and strategy. They didn't forget war. They mastered it. And then they left. They hid. They waited. Drek sat down, his voice flat. This is not the first time someone made the mistake of thinking Earth was weak. Why didn't the Union warn us, someone asked. Because they were scared too, Drek answered. Scared enough to erase Earth from records, to pretend it never existed. But why come back now? Another voice asked. Because we found them, Drek said. And Earth never ignores a threat. Outside the window, the warship finally moved. Just a little. A tilt. Then its engines lit up again. Soft blue fire glowing silently. It turned, away from the fleet. It was leaving. No destruction. No more messages. Just a reminder. A warning. Earth was back, and it had eyes on the galaxy. The generals fear far away from the frozen battlefield, deep inside the Galactic Union's Central Command. Station alarms were going off. Messages poured in, broken signals, damaged files, emergency calls. Every single one carried the same strange name. Earth, General Vortan, head of the Galactic Defense Council, stood tall and quiet as his officers shouted and argued. Sir, one unidentified ship destroyed 2 cruisers and disabled half the fleet without taking a single hit. It used technology we've never seen. They're calling it a human warship. Vortan raised his hand. Everyone went silent. Show me the ship, he said. A screen lit up, showing the grainy image of the Earth warship. It looked old, almost like a relic, but somehow stronger than anything they had. One of the younger officers whispered, how did they build something like that? We thought Earth was a forgotten world. The general didn't answer. Instead, he turned to an old security vault in the corner of the command room. He pressed his hand on the scanner. The metal door slid open with a heavy hiss. Inside were files. Real paper, not digital. Ancient, hidden away, locked for over 100 years. He pulled out a thick folder labeled in red. Earth, do not engage. Everyone watched in silence as he flipped through the pages. Old pictures of humans, records of a long-forgotten war. Reports of brutal fighting, cities turned to ash. But what shocked the officers most were the final pages. They showed Earth's last known military test, a weapon so advanced it was banned by every known race. A silent ship that could move faster than light, jam every system, and disappear after a strike. It had no crew name, no flag, just a code. Project Ghostfire. The younger officer asked, "Is that the ship we just saw?" Fortan nodded slowly. "It has to be. The Ghostfire ship was never destroyed. Earth kept it hidden. But why? Why disappear for so long?" Fortan turned, his face hard. "Because Earth doesn't start wars, but it always finishes them." He walked back to the center of the room. "We made a mistake. We let time erase Earth from our minds. We thought they were gone. Weak. Dead. But Earth doesn't die. It waits." The command room grew colder, even without temperature change. "Send a message to all outer fleets," Fortan ordered. "Do not approach Earth. Do not scan. Do not provoke." "But sir, what if they attack again?" Fortan looked at the screen, still, showing the warship drifting away from the battlefield. "They won't, not unless we give them a reason." Another officer spoke. "Why didn't they destroy us? They had the power." "Because," Fortan said, "that was their message, one ship, one strike, and the galaxy is already shaking. They don't need more." The silence was broken by another signal. It was short, no video, no voice. Just a sentence in Earth's ancient language. The translation appeared on the screen. "We are watching. No threat. No demand. Just truth." The officers looked at each other, confused and afraid. "What do we do now?" one of them asked. Fortan looked out the wide window into the endless stars. "Now," he said, "we remember Earth." Inside the beast, the Earth warship moved like a shadow through space, slow and silent. No signal, no lights, no sound. The alien fleets watched it from a distance, afraid to follow, afraid to even speak its name. Inside the ship, everything was still. Dark metal walls, glowing with faint blue lines. Floors clean and silent. No noise of engines, no chatter of crew. Just focus, just purpose. At the heart of the ship, the command room was unlike anything seen by alien eyes. It wasn't large or full of people. It held only a few, and they weren't shouting orders. They were calm, cold, focused. Humans, one, stood in the center, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a black uniform with no flag. His face was calm, his eyes sharp. He watched the screens without blinking. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't angry. He was just ready. This was Commander Reese. To him, this mission wasn't about battle. It was about memory. Earth had waited, for centuries, watching the stars, listening to alien voices, hearing whispers of war, pride, and empires rising, and Earth stayed silent until someone pointed a weapon at them. Then Earth answered. Commander Reese turned to his crew, 4 others, 2 men, 2 women, all quiet, all focused, all trained in the same way. Not to panic, not to boast, not to forget. "Status?" Reese asked. One woman looked up. "All targets scanned. Fleet power has dropped by 70%. They're not a threat now." Reese nodded. "Any response from command?" "No. We're still off-grid. No trace, no contact." "Good." He stood and looked out the wide screen showing the stars. "They needed a reminder," he said. "Now they have it." One of the younger crew members asked, "Why didn't we destroy more of them?" Reese turned slowly. "Because fear is louder than destruction. If we had wiped them out, others would just grow angry. But now they'll talk about what they saw. They'll pass it on. That's better than war." He walked to a sealed door. It opened with a soft click. Inside, lights dimmed as he entered the weapon control chamber. A screen showed every ship the warship had disabled. None were fully destroyed, just broken enough to stop moving. The ship could have erased them, but it didn't. Reese placed his hand on a panel. A new file opened, a message log he started recording. To any future enemy, he said, "This ship is not Earth's might. It's a piece, a sample, a sign. If you meet this ship again, it means the time for warning is over." He closed the file and locked it with a command only Earth's High Council could unlock. Back in the main room, another message came in. A small drone sent from a captured alien scout had finally delivered an image. It showed Commander Reese inside the ship, standing calm as weapons fired behind him. That image was already spreading across alien networks. They called him the Quiet Death. Some believed he was a machine. Others thought he was a ghost. None of them knew the truth. He was human, and Earth had more like him. The warship began to power down its outer shields. It was time to vanish again. They had come from nowhere, and now they would return to nowhere, but not empty. The ship had recorded every signal, every ship, every face. Earth now had knowledge, and they would use it, not to conquer, to prepare, for the next time, because there would be a next time. Commander Reese sat back down in the captain's chair. He spoke softly. "They thought we were gone." He looked at the stars. They forgot. And, with that, the ship disappeared into the black. One ship, endless fear. The Earth ship had vanished. No trace. No signal. No engine trail. It was as if it had never been there. But it had. Across the galaxy, the news spread like fire through dry grass. Stories changed from whispers to warnings, from rumors to fear. A single human warship had cut through an entire alien fleet and disappeared without a scratch. In every council room, in every high-ranking meeting hall, leaders spoke with hushed voices. Maps were redrawn. Patrols were pulled back from the sector, near Earth. No one wanted to be the next target. No one wanted to see that ship again. They didn't even know its name, so they gave it one. The Ghost of Earth. Some said it had no crew, just an angry machine. Others believed the humans had turned into something more, cold, ancient, beyond understanding. But the truth was worse. They were human, and they remembered everything. In the Galactic Trade Union, ambassadors argued, they were gone for centuries. "We didn't touch Earth. This was a mistake from the Zarnak Empire." "It doesn't matter," one leader said. "The humans have shown what they can do. The galaxy has changed." In private corners, scientists tried to understand the technology used. Weapons that had no light, shields that absorbed energy, jammers that shut down ships without leaving a trace. No one could explain it. No one could copy it. Fear turned into silence, and silence turned into respect. One fleet commander from the Zareth Order refused to believe the stories. He sent scout ships toward Earth's sector. None returned. He sent more. Still silence. Finally, he sent his own command cruiser. That night he received one signal. Not a message, just a picture. His ship, floating dead in space, no damage, no movement. Next day, he resigned. One ship had changed the balance of the stars, not by destroying planets, not by starting wars, but by doing almost nothing, just arriving, acting, leaving. The alien fleets near Earth slowly retreated to safer systems. Border. Posts were closed. Stations shut down. No one wanted to see the ghost ship appear again. Inside the Zarnak Empire, the Emperor himself ordered all maps to mark Earth as a red zone, unapproachable. One of his advisors asked, "Should we try to speak with them? Maybe offer peace?" The Emperor looked at the screen showing the battle logs. "Do you want to hear their voice?" he asked quietly. The advisor went pale. "No, sir." "Then leave them alone." Across the stars, the humans were not seen, but they were not forgotten. Their message had been simple. They had not come to claim territory. They had not come to demand tribute. They had come to show something. Don't mistake silence for weakness. In secret, Earth's name returned to the top of old threat lists. Some wanted to plan counterattacks. Others said it was too risky. In the end, no one moved. Fear held them in place. A single ship, a single moment, a single story. That was enough. And the worst part? No one knew if more ships like it existed. No one knew if Earth had a fleet. Maybe that was the point. Maybe Earth wanted them to wonder because sometimes fear is stronger than war. And Earth had mastered both. Earth speaks, the galaxy was quiet. Trade routes that once buzzed with ships now lay empty near Earth's borders. Patrols vanished. Fleets drifted far away from one small blue planet that everyone had once ignored. Now they watched it from a distance. No one dared to come close. Inside the Galactic Union headquarters, the High Council met again. For weeks, they had studied the reports, listened to terrified captains, and stared at the single image that shook the stars. A silent human standing aboard a warship, calm while ships burned around him. They had sent researchers, spies, and signals. All had failed. Earth gave no reply. The warship had returned to the dark. Earth said nothing. Until now. Late one standard cycle, every screen in the Union lit up. Not just in government offices, but in ships, on stations, on mining colonies and border planets. A single message appeared. Not a video, not sound, just words. Clear, cold, final. Next. Time, we won't send one ship. Panic followed. Some leaders called for emergency defense plans. Others begged for peace talks. But no answer came from Earth. Because that one sentence was enough. It wasn't a warning. It was a promise. On Zarnak Prime, the Emperor read the message over and over. His generals stood behind him, silent. "How many ships do you think they have?" one finally asked. The Emperor shook his head. "Enough to send just one and make us bow." On the outer edges of the galaxy, in distant systems, young species who had never even heard of Earth now feared it. Children in alien homes whispered stories of the ghost ship. Some said the humans were watching every planet. Some believed they were already inside every system. No one knew the truth. That was what made it powerful. In a deep part of space, near a dark nebula where no empire claimed control, the Earth ship waited in silence. Inside, Commander Reese looked out through a wide glass window, eyes fixed on the stars. A message came through a private Earth channel, one word: delivered. He nodded. Mission complete. The ship didn't return home. It didn't need to. Its presence had done what no speech, no battle, no threat could. It made the galaxy remember. Humans didn't arrive with flags and parades. They didn't ask for permission. They simply reminded the stars of one thing: Earth exists, and Earth is watching. Back on the planet itself, life was quiet. Farmers worked, children played, cities glowed in peace. No one on the surface knew what had happened beyond the stars. They didn't have to. Earth didn't fight to conquer. It fought to be left alone. But if pushed, it fought to end things. And that story, the one about a forgotten world, a silent warship and a single sentence, would travel across the galaxy forever. No one would look at Earth the same again, because now they knew, if Earth speaks, everyone listens.